please. You have to help me.
No one said you could talk, jackass.
You Zaeed Massani?
Yeah, that's me. You must be Commander Shepard. Hey, we have a galaxy to save.
I assume you've been briefed?
I've done my homework. Cerberus sent me everything I needed to know.
Zaeed Massani is a feared, respected bounty hunter and mercenary soldier. Cerberus had contracted Zaeed to assist Shepard in the mission to save mankind. In exchange, Zaeed requires help to complete another mission that he had accepted beforehand, which was to liberate an Eldfell Ashland energy refinery from Blue Sun's control.
Mass Effect.
Hey everyone, it's Brock from Brock and Sindri, back again with another Mass Effect Monday. And obviously this week we're talking about Zaeed Massani and everything, his whole backstory and everything to do with him. So we'll get started in his appearance in Mass Effect Foundation. Zaeed Massani once headed the Blue Sun's private security outfit along with his partner Vito Santiago, dealing in gun running, extortion, some arson and knocking heads that needed knocking. As the organization grew, some of the Sons wanted to get involved in the Batarian slave trade and Zaeed vehemently disagreed. Like any other civil organized body, they respectfully discussed their differences and had a vote, resulting in Vito shooting Zaeed point blank in the face. In his own words, he was overruled. Most guys in Zaeed's age range can't handle a career change at that point in life, he claims. Zaeed survived the hit and took to drowning himself in alcohol as he recovered, calling it adjusting just fine. Not a day went without him thinking of revenge initially, but as time went by, it did happen. Zaeed kept hearing from people how he ended up being a washed up has-been no one would hire to even scrape vermin shit out of a trash block. He would have done none of it and started taking advertised jobs as an independent contractor after pulling himself together. The work got him by, but he figured the only way to restore his name and reputation is to do something big. It eventually landed him as a stint as a shadow broker hireling. The shadow broker tasked him to crash the Turian frigate Varicand. Zaeed saw it as a chance to restore his name, but asked the broker for job specifics. The broker didn't care how the ship was to be brought down, as his client was willing to pay a large fortune for it, so Zaeed accepted the job, eager to claim the bounty. To that end, Zaeed recruited 3 freelancers, as he reckoned anyone from established merc gangs would be out of the question. He asked the Salarian Kendo Holin, the Asari Tristana, and the ex-Blue Sun Jace Rain to join him while they were all in the middle of their own jobs. All of them accepted, but they had reservations against taking on an entire frigate with just the 4 of them. Zaeed called them all together and elaborated on his plan. The team won't be taking the Varicand down by strength, they'll be doing it with stealth and simplicity. Now, the team laid low at the refueling depot on Trebia, anticipating the Varicand there and the flurry of activity to conceal them. Thrusters strapped to their backs, the team then performed a space jump from depot to frigate, flying like bullets and careful not to deviate in trajectory. The jump took 10 seconds and they hit the target spot on. Zaeed had an inside Turian named Polonus who was supposed to open the airlock for them, and the entire plan hinged on the Turian letting them in, as the next steps were to head straight for the bridge, lock themselves in, and crash the vessel into the nearest planet. Zaeed thought he had anticipated everything, but he had not counted on the Varicand's chief of security Garko catching Polonus in the act. The landing team were flushed right back out of the airlock's outer door, where their tethering cables secured them all, except for Kendo Holin. The element of surprise blown and the distance from the target too far, Zaeed thought a sane man would just abort the mission. But with the amount of money at stake, he reckoned he'd be crazy to leave it all behind. The remaining 3 mercenaries found another way into the ship and split up. Zaeed assigned Tristana and Jace to be the distraction team, while he headed to the bridge. Garko and Zaeed crossed paths, resulting in Zaeed taking him hostage as the Turian's soldiers were obliterated by an explosion. Zaeed made it to the bridge door relatively unharmed as the abandoned ship call was sounded throughout the Varicand. Holding Garko at gunpoint, he forced him to override the bridge security protocols. The pair were met by at least a dozen Turians when the door opened, all with weapons trained at Zaeed. Garko's head exploded as Tristana came to Zaeed's rescue at that exact moment, and they slaughtered the bridge crew in short order. Tristana and Zaeed had a thing in the past, but Zaeed claimed he broke it off before it killed him. Instead of kissing Tristana, he asked her about Jace, but it appeared the payoff was now split 50-50. With the job almost done, he thought he could live with that. Zaeed set the frigate on a crash course to Impera, relying on the Turian garrison there to shoot the vessel down before it happened. Tristana unexpectedly blasted him with her biotics as she revealed herself to be under Vito's employ. Zaeed mused to himself that he had terrible taste in women, but he did have great luck. Impera's gravitational forces acted on the crashing ship, freeing him from Tristana's biotic grasp. Zaeed managed to stab his ex-girlfriend in a scuffle while the ship itself was being fired upon by the garrison. If nothing else went wrong, he thought he still might get out alive, but then a hole opened up in the hull, nearly sinking them both out until their arms found protrusions to grab. Zaeed took the opportunity to kick Tristana completely off the ship, luckily finding another object to grab before plummeting to the surface with her. He hoisted himself back to the ship, located an escape pod, strapped himself in and ejected to safety as the burning ruins of the vessel streaked across Impera's sky. Zaeed busted open his pod just in time to see the Varicand explode, deeming it one of the most satisfying sights he's ever seen. There's nothing like a man well paid for a job well done. Zaeed's association with Shepard began through a Cerberus email entitled Deal Struck with Zaeed Massani. He's notorious as the galaxy's most feared bounty hunter and mercenary soldier. Heavily scarred and well equipped, he joins the mission exclusively for the money being paid to him by Cerberus. The mercenary veteran appropriates the Normandy's starboard cargo hold on the engineering deck as his personal quarters, bringing along some trophies and keepsakes, a battered M8 Avenger, a blood-packed helmet, and a Turian frigate model ship. Zaeed talks about these items at length, if Shepard expresses interest. Now, upon recruiting Zaeed, he does inform Shepard that prior to his contract with Cerberus, he has another active contract that is not yet finished, and he asks that the commander fulfill this side of the contract by travelling to Zoya. When the squad arrives planetside, Zaeed informs Shepard about the target, his former partner Vito Santiago. He reveals that he co-founded the Blue Suns with Vito, who eventually betrayed him and shot him in the face after a disagreement about whether to allow Batarians into the Blue Suns. Vito called them cheaper labor, whereas Zaeed openly derided them as goddamn terrorists. Upon finding Vito in his base, Zaeed intentionally initiates a compressed gas fire which eventually spreads throughout the facility. Shepard can then choose to either put out the fires, thus saving innocent workers, or pursue Vito. If Shepard puts out the fire, Vito escapes in a gunship and Zaeed is enraged with Shepard. Shepard can convince Zaeed to work together as a team and to put his vengeance aside until the mission is complete, thereby securing his loyalty, but only with great difficulty. Otherwise, Zaeed's loyalty is not secured. If Shepard pursues Vito, Zaeed shoots Vito in the leg and then kills him by throwing a heat sink into the puddle of fuel Vito is lying in, burning him to death. If Shepard travels to Zoya after the suicide mission, is a paragon and has at least 2 more squad members left, then there will be an option to leave Zaeed to die when a metal beam collapses on him. Upon the completion of Zaeed's loyalty mission, the reasons for some of his distinctive traits become more readily apparent. His neck shows a tattoo of the Blue Suns insignia, a souvenir of his time as the leader of the Blue Suns. His mismatched right eye and surrounding facial area appears to have been surgically grafted onto his face, and it is likely the point-blank gunshot wound he sustained blew off this part of his face and had to be reconstructed. Zaeed returns to fight the Reapers, provided he survived Shepard's attack on the Collector's base and the mission on Zoya. Apparently, a few months after the Collector base mission, Cerberus contacted Zaeed and offered him a job. However, the negotiations went badly and Zaeed now seeks out jobs that hinder Cerberus operations. lad. After the Cerberus coup attempt, CSET gets a tip that a Volus ambassador, Din Korlak, was feeding information to the shadowy organization. In reality, though Korlak did have ties to Cerberus while they were fighting the Collectors, he had second thoughts and cut them after the invasion. Upon investigating further, Shepard realizes that Din was kidnapped by mercenaries led by Zaeed. Fortunately, Shepard is able to remotely give Korlak information that causes Zaeed to realize he'd been duped. Zaeed kills the other mercs and saves Korlak, who gives information about a pending Cerberus attack on the Turian colony, as well as the support of the Volus bombing fleet. If Shepard failed to secure Zaeed's loyalty during the fight against the Collectors, he dies saving Korlak. Oddly enough, he won't appear on the memorial wall on the Normandy cruise deck. Zaeed can be found at the Citadel's refugee docks after the incident with Korlak, pledging his support to Shepard's war effort when Shepard comes visiting. If Shepard converses with Zaeed further, the commander can ask if he knows Dana Vosk, the Blue Suns leader on the Citadel. Zaeed reveals how Vosk botched the mission when Zaeed was still with the Suns, getting half his squad killed in the process. The Suns didn't boot Vosk out fast enough, Zaeed narrates, and he opines he should have ended Vosk's tenure with a bullet. When questioned about the mercenaries he had been working with, Zaeed reveals he had met them on Omega, having signed on with them after hearing they were allegedly targeting Cerberus. Reflecting on the incident with Korlak, Zaeed concludes he should have studied the job in greater depth. As with most soldiers, freelancers, or otherwise fighting in a Reaper war, Zaeed stocks up on war material and provisions necessary for him to survive in the field. Noticeably, he also purchases rifle parts for a discontinued variant of the Avengers series, according to recent transaction logs on Liara's broker terminal, possibly to restore his beloved rifle Jesse for the fight. The commander can speak with him in London before the final battle. Zaeed almost thought Shepard wasn't going to make it, and was glad to be proven wrong. Shepard checks on him and he offhandedly brushes it off, hoping instead the commander has one hell of a speech prepared to get people moving, as they'll need it based on what he's seen. As usual, the old soldier is pragmatic and even sanguine about the fight, though he admits it doesn't feel like a real ground war when the enemies are taller than goddamn skyscrapers. If Shepard chooses to destroy the Reapers, Zaeed is briefly shown lounging on a chair on a tropical beach with his beloved rifle, Jesse, by his side. Zaeed's presence in events following Shepard's clone fiasco on the Citadel DLC is obviously dependent on him surviving the attempted kidnap of the Volus ambassador in 2186. He can also assist Shepard in the Armax Arsenal arena if the license to play using him as a squad mate is purchased. Zaeed can be found at the Castle Arcade in front of the Claw game, where he is having a hard time winning a prize. A kid was crying by the game who spent all his credits on it without getting any prizes, prompting Zaeed to try his hand when the snivelling brat asked him to. Shepard catches up to him alone on the machine, the kid long gone by then. If spoken to, Zaeed hits Shepard up for credits, to which Shepard can either oblige or refuse, and struggles a few more times while venting his anger towards the game's creator. He eventually manages to win a Volus doll, which he promptly and somewhat rudely gives to a nearby Asari. Zaeed is one of the optional invites to Shepard's big party. At the first phase of the party, regardless of setting, Zaeed loiters by the balcony if both of Shepard's Krogan associates are present, and by the fireplace if not. At the second phase of a quiet party, Zaeed is still at the balcony if he was there earlier, but now joined by Garrus if the Turian is around. Now they start discussing potential booby traps to be laid around Shepard's home if another clone gets the bright idea to storm the place. If the party is set to energetic and Samara is around, however, Zaeed joins her at the far end of the kitchen, examining the wall painting while attempting to flirt with her. He surprisingly shows insight regarding the painting, claiming the following words: "It makes me feel uneasy, like when you're alone in the dark, lying in wait, and the cold wind brushes across your face like the kiss of death." He further waxes poetic about his rival Jesse, causing Samara to misunderstand their relationship as that of a merc and a woman until Zaeed clarifies otherwise. Despite the occasional eloquence, Zaeed handles his flirting in a ham-fisted manner and barely gets the hint when Samara decides that silence better suits the two friends both. At the third phase of a quiet party, Zaeed follows through with his plans to booby-trap Shepard's apartment, optionally staying in comm contact with Garrus for ideas. He can be found near Shepard's pool bath, suspiciously crouched over something. If Shepard asks what's going on, Zaeed explains that he is setting up Armageddon on the tub. A timer counts down when the trap is tripped. 30 seconds later, the pool heats up to temperatures around the surface of the sun. Shepard poses the question as to how they can use it. Zaeed replies it's keyed to the Spectre's DNA. Shepard replies that the clone's DNA would be identical to theirs, causing Zaeed to curse the goddamned clone. He scratches out the tub trap and announces he's got ideas for the coffee maker machine downstairs. If the third leg is energetic, Zaeed hangs out by the bar, either relaxing on the sofa or doing target practice with bottles. While other guests are dancing around, he dismisses his own abilities at it, claiming that he moves like a greased one-legged baron. He's also dismissive of the music the kids nowadays are enjoying, reminiscing instead on the scars of a girl who sang on some pub on a mega. If Javik is not at the party, a relaxing Zaeed will be asked by a female shepherd what he thinks, to which he will respond that he has always thought that she was beautiful. Regardless of how the party ends, Zaeed joins the group photo when the time comes, posing next to James Vega at the back of the group. In the morning after, Zaeed lounges around on a living room couch. He apologizes in his own way for snoring, claiming that he had some problem ever since his nose was broken. He also reports they're out of bacon, and there's still dextro bacon for the guests with that biochemistry, and figured he'd saved Shepard 3 strips as payback for all the times the commander saved his bacon in the figurative sense. And Zaeed may have also fathered a son, Bane Masani, who grew up to become a private security contractor before signing up with the Andromeda Initiative. Zaeed wasn't in Bane's life, as the only things Bane knew about him is that he named him and he's a big time mercenary. So Zaeed was only originally available through the Zaeed at the Price of Revenge DLC pack in Mass Effect 2. According to his character page on BioWare's defunct Mass Effect 2 site, Zaeed served in the Alliance before turning mercenary. 40 years old by 2185, he was bounty hunting for 20 years. However, this would mean he founded the Blue Suns with Vito at only 15 years old in 2160. The name Zaeed is an anglicization of the Arabic name and means one who progresses and makes other people progress. It's also very similar to Saeed, which I believe means happy or smile if I'm not wrong. The wall opposite Zaeed bears a design marked 55 with 5 knives firmly stuck into it. The presence of similar knives on a crate near Zaeed indicates that he has been using it as a dartboard. Due to a possible writing error during Archangel's recruitment mission, Zaeed will advise Shepard to get the shutters open rather than closed. Robin Sachs, the voice actor for Zaeed, was a BioWare regular, voicing Saul Karath in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Lord Pyrrell Harrowmont and Murdoch in Dragon Age Origins, and Seneschal Varel in Dragon Age Origins Awakening. One of his final works was voicing Zaeed for the Mass Effect 3 Citadel DLC. Operation Tribute, one of the weekend challenges in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, is a tribute to Robin Sachs, who passed away on February 1st, 2013. The operation goals are earning points with the M8 Avenger and Inferno grenades, referencing Zaeed's old Avenger rifle and his loyalty power in Mass Effect 2. Zaeed is one of only 2 squad mates, and the other one being Kasumi Goto, whose loyalty mission is available straight away after recruiting them. He is also one of 4 squad mates without a mission tied to his recruitment, the other 3 being Jacob, Miranda and Kasumi. He is one of only 2 squad mates who can die on their loyalty mission, the other being Samara. And just like Kasumi, Zaeed also does not have any dialogue options when the player talks to him. Instead, where he, as well as some items in his proximity, can be interacted with, prompting him to reminisce or comment on the team or his earlier missions. Zaeed will be as talkative and mission specific, opinionated as any other party member during missions, however. And that's all we've got on Zaeed Massani. What did you think of the mercenary veteran, lovable rogue, all of that kind of stuff? Let me know down in the comments, and we'll see you next time for another Mass Effect Lore Monday.
Almost thought you weren't gonna make it, Shepard. Glad I was wrong.
You doing okay, Zaeed?
Yeah. Hope you've got one hell of a speech to get everyone moving. Looks like we might need it. Never seen anything like this.
We don't stop it now, it gets worse.
No kidding. Just doesn't feel like a real ground war when your opponents are taller than goddamn skyscrapers. Still, no use talking about it. Ready to go when you are. Let's gut the bastards.